resistance is futile.
Boldly going where no show has gone before. This is The Week in Geek with David D. Squared and Brian Held. Heard live on News Talk 99.5 WRNO and the iHeartRadio app. Here are your hosts, Brian Held and D. Squared.
Good evening. This is The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I am your host, D Squared, with
Brian Held.
Brian Held, how the hell are you, buckaroo?
Well, we're both pretty wore out, Dave.
Speak for yourself. I am the picture of health, vim, vigor, and vitality.
We just got in the door from Pensacola Comic Convention.
Is that where we were?
Yes, all weekend long. And our thanks to Erica Busahaney and all the folks out there at Pensacola Comic-Con. We had a great time.
Absolutely, man. We got to go have dinner at McGuire's, always a big plus.
Oh, yeah. If you're in Pensacola, you got to stop there. It's great.
Holy crap, is it good. And then, Sky and Dan, hooking us up, taking care of us.
Absolutely.
So, all right, well, that was a good time. Let's set up the show real quick. As always, we'll open up with top nerd news. And then we have our boy Skungy, his triumphant return. And the triumphant return of football season.
Oh, geez.
So we're going to be talking sports ball, Brian, your personal favorite.
Yes.
And then who's our guest, Brian?
Well, we're going to have two folks, actually.
It's twofer?
Yes, it's going to be Candice Huber, the proprietor of Tubby & Coos.
Yeah.
And she's bringing an author she's working with, Artie Sievers.
And that's for her new imprint
yes.
from Tubby & Coos. Awesome.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking with them on the third segment.
And then if we have time, we'll get to This Week in Geek History. It's going to be a mad dash. So you ready to get on with top nerd news?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. And now, your top nerd news stories from around the world, brought to you by the Viridian Tea Company. Find them on Etsy. And now, your top nerd news stories. All right, as much as it pains me, Brian, I think you may have been right again about something.
Uh-oh.
I know, it's shocking.
What was I right about?
The movie industry.
Oh, yeah.
And that they probably couldn't find their ass with both hands.
Well, we've seen a report that the box office is at its lowest point in a quarter century.
25 years, and how much money have they lost this year? Or was it, I don't even know. This article's so huge because most of this article is filled with crappy movies that were supposed to be blockbuster tentpole films that were in the range of anywhere from $20 to $60 million overhead.
Oh,
Not including the advertising. We all know how much more that is. But most of these movies, to say they were a flop is to be generous, like Nut Job 2, Monster Truck, Will Ferrell's The House, which I don't even remember, Rough Night, which was kind of like the Chicks version of The Hangover,
right?
And all rights, it looked like it was supposed to be pretty good, but apparently it just flopped as well.
Yeah, King Arthur, The Dark Tower didn't do too well.
Yeah, I do want to go see The Dark Tower. Screw the critics. I don't really give a rat's ass what they say. But also Baywatch and Chips,
right.
with The Rock, But I think they knew those weren't going to be like major money gatherers. It was kind of like lazy cinema.
Well,
those in particular.
We keep chanting out here that if they would just give us good stories.
Well,
right?
you're chanting that.
Yeah, well, I am. But
that's
you
want
the thing.
Cerebral stuff.
Well, I do.
Now, granted, they went to Baywatch Chips films, which is kind of like my, moronic fare, which I enjoy. But even I was kind of like, there's always a wiener joke. I was about to say,
right?
That's all it is. It's fart and wiener jokes,
right? And
and as much as I enjoy that,
no, and I get it. Then there's a time and place for good humor, and I have no problem with that. It's just they have constantly been just rehashing stuff from the past century, trying to.
And not. Let's just stay away from the reboots. Argument on this. This is more like where they're putting a lot of money into movies that, for all intents and purposes, they just assume are moneymakers because for years they have been. But who was it? It was Lucas and Spielberg that gave a prediction that there was going to be an implosion.
Yeah.
Because, at this point, they have lost so much damn money in this year that some of these movie houses, they might not have a whole lot of operating capital for the next year's slate of films because there's like 0 winners on this damn list.
Well,
I mean, they lost money. Like barely, some of them didn't even break even.
But honestly, that might not be that bad because
what?
It opens up the whole door to all of the streaming services that are snapping up new talent with new properties, that are giving us good content like Good Omens from Amazon that was just announced.
Are you trying to segue away from this? I'm not sure if we're done with this conversation, and I'm not busting your balls.
All right.
I mean, honestly, I like the segue, the whole streaming thing, but I mean, we really need to kind of figure out what the hell is the movie industry going to do. And as a whole, though, because their tentpole pictures are no longer tentpole pictures because they can't hold up the tent.
Well, I mean, look, we already talked about it, I think it was last week or the week before, that their overseas investors, the Chinese investors, are calling those bets in. And if they don't start producing good content that people actually want to see, then they're going to be really in a bad way.
Well, I mean, I guess the hopes here are, I mean, if you look at this list of just patheticness, the whole King Arthur, that's been done to death. A lot of these movies like Rough Night, Monster Trucks, and all these other things are kind of rehashes of old kids' tales and or, hey, well, this worked for us 5 years ago. Let's swap up the cast and hope it works. I mean, now where are they going to go? What are they going to do to try to really lure in the moviegoers? Are we going to start getting more of the comic book stuff? But I mean, that well is going to start to run dry after a while as well.
Well, and this is off the slate of our notes. Actually, I'm diverting a little bit. There was that recent announcement from the Ticket Stubs thing where you
AMC, yeah, well, like a $10.
Well, it wasn't AMC that announced it. It's another
they're
service.
Suing, right.
That you pay $10 a month and you could see essentially a movie a day.
Right. And AMC is suing because they feel they're losing money on that. But
well, they are because that service is buying the tickets at a discount. So
I
that they
still
can
have to take out a loan on my firstborn child every time I want to go buy a damn soda pop and a bucket of popcorn, though.
That's because that's where the movie houses make their money. Everybody knows that. So that's why you need get a man purse and sneak in a 2-liter bottle of Coke, right?
Hey, I already do that. It's called a beer belly. I just shove it in my cargo pants. That's why I always wear cargo pants to the movies.
Well, hey, let's talk about Good Omens coming out with Amazon.
Yeah, Terry Pratchett, may he rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
I have yet to read this book, and it is my fault for not having taken the time to read it because by all intents and purposes, everybody's like, this is one of the best books ever.
So it's a collaboration with Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. It's actually Gaiman's first novel. And my wife has read it more than once. She
really
loves it. I started reading it, and I had to put it down. I had to get to something else. But
it seems like it would be a little too funny for you, almost. Like it's kind of like some of that Pratchett humor. You're not a big fan of Pratchett, were you?
I read his novel about death that I found amusing. I enjoyed that one.
It was a good one.
But there's some of it that's so far afield that my mind just cannot handle Terry Pratchett.
But if it's not British humor, you don't want to play with it. No.
But he's British. So
I know, but he doesn't do British humor.
Regardless, the announcement was that Michael Sheen and David Tennant have been cast in lead roles of Good Omens.
Who is Michael Sheen? I know who David Tennant is. Doctor Who, Barty Crouch. But who's Michael Sheen?
Let's see. He recently starred in the Showtime drama Masters of Sex.
Yeah. Bound chicken wow wow.
Primarily worked in film during his career. He was in Frost Nixon, Passengers, Underworld, Rise of the Lycans, Twilight Saga, Breaking Dawn. He's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited about Tennant coming to this role. I think he is fantastic. He can work in any role as far as I'm concerned.
He can do no wrong. Is that what you're telling me, Brian?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then what else did we... Obi Wan Kenobi. There's rumors that there's going to have a standalone film with Obi Wan Kenobi.
Why?
As our friend Krista Reed was putting it, he's like, they've gone to the well. It's another pedestrian pick, and, there's no meat on that bone. But I responded to him. I was like, what if we go back to the preteen years when he was out drinking and whoring around before he met Qui-Gon, and maybe that's why he was with Qui-Gon. It was some sort of court-ordered mandatory Padawan service where, you got to go out, ship up, get your little rat's tail and your lightsaber and go listen to this guy.
I'm going to channel Patton Oswalt.
No,
when
he said
in his bit, about George Lucas doing the prequels that I don't care where the things I love come from. I just love the things I love, right? We don't need to see how much material have we seen of Obi Wan?
Well, I mean, he's done all the Clone War stuff.
Right.
I mean, there's so much stuff. I mean, I don't really care. I would prefer not to see an Obi Wan flick, but there are rumors also going around about the Jabba the Hutt. Remember that the book Tales of Jabba's Palace, right? That had all these bounty hunters, a young Jabba the Hutt. I mean, that's like the underside, the seedy underbelly of the Star Wars universe, which I would like to see,
absolutely,
as opposed to the heroic, swashbuckling, we're saving the universe crap. I want to see about somebody out there, hustling to make a buck and killing some Rhodians along the way, shooting first.
And that's what we would have gotten with the Star Wars 1313 video game that they were putting out, with all that backstory about the underbelly of Coruscant and everything like that.
Right.
And so, that would be great. It would be a lot like Rogue One is what we got in that. We got some story.
Spoiler alert, I didn't expect everybody to die.
But you know what? That's fine.
It was great.
It was.
I was happy. It ended on a down note, and that's what life is, Brian. A series of down endings.
Right.
Holy crap, we got to go to break, man.
Okay, do you want to talk about the Orville real quick?
I do. Good Lord, we didn't even get to that.
Exactly.
Huh? You know what? We are going to talk about it here. In case anybody doesn't remember, here's a little clip from the Orville.
I have good news. There's a ship available, the USS Orville. Ever since I was a kid, I have wanted to serve on an exploratory vessel. You're nobody's first choice for this job.
The captain does not appear to be pleased at the arrival of his first officer.
They were married.
No way. You know how many times I tried to talk to you, but you weren't hearing me, or you weren't around at all, but I did. I was the one who suggested couples counseling.
The therapist was your brother-in-law.
This should be a really fun trip for all of us.
So our friends over at Fox 8 have given us some access to watch the first 3 episodes of Orville. Now, we can't talk about spoilers or details, but I will go so far as to say that I was really surprised at what we saw.
Well, hold on. I'm bringing Skungy in on it because Skungy was also, as part of the team, he got some of this advanced screening stuff as well.
Right. So
Skungy, you're there, huh?
Yeah. Hi, guys.
Right, good.
Hey, so what I expected was basically Family Guy in space.
Oh, so you thought it was just going to be constant, just slapstick?
Yeah, and look, if they were going to take that Galaxy Quest kind of turn, I could have been good with that.
Yeah, right.
But what I think I saw is that Seth MacFarlane is channeling Gene Roddenberry.
Well, you know what, and I agree with that. All right, now, Skungy, remember, we got to keep this all spoiler-free.
Yeah.
So,
I agree as well with that statement.
Well, and it was funny, too, because like I hadn't seen Brian since I started watching, and when I got to the hotel room in Pensacola, I was like, look, do you think in the 70s that Roddenberry in Star Trek was as heavy-handed and as laid it on as thick with their social commentary as some of the stuff we just saw?
And I said, yes, absolutely. I mean, how big a deal was it that Kirk and Uhura kissed?
It was a huge deal.
That was
a first interracial kiss.
Exactly. And that's the level of social commentary that I think we're getting in the Orville. And I'm happy with that.
Well, and and I really liked how, that we got to see 3 episodes and there was there was humor throughout.
Yeah.
But, it almost took a turn. It was kind of like, serious, funny. And it really, it took some of our social issues that we're dealing with today and grabbed it by the throat and shook it.
Yeah.
And I was really kind of taken aback at first, but then I'm going, you know what? Here it is. We're watching something, that we weren't around for the original run of the Star Trek, the original series, to see the impacts that it had. And I got a feeling when this episode airs that people are going to kind of shake their head and be like, "Holy crap!"
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to walk away and just think and be like, "Wow, this is something that I can compare it to and really." Have a conversation in a jocular way as opposed to I'm going to gouge your eyes out and, rip off your pecker.
Yeah. Skungy, what did you think about it?
You know what? I basically agree with everything he said. The only thing that I'm a little worried about is the way that the show is being shopped right now, how it's being advertised, that people are going to think it's one thing when it's not, when it's more of that social commentary. It's got humor in it, but humor is not the driving force. Through the commercials, though, it feels like humor is the driving force of it.
Yeah, and I think he's right. Yeah, I kind of felt that way. I was a little bit shocked. I was happy with what I got.
Right.
So was I.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we went in thinking it was going to be like, okay, this is going to be a bunch of slapstick humor, fart jokes, and that kind of stuff, and it wasn't. And I think people will actually go into it thinking, all right, this is going to be a fun little romp in space, blah, 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 and they'll be like, oh, you know what? That was actually pretty cool. It was funny, and it made me think. But it not in an a-hole kind of way. You know, they weren't, like I said, I wondered if it was so heavy-handed. But I think, you know, in this day and age, you know, maybe we need something to shake the boat because there's a lot of shows out there that is just really just, you know, bottom of the barrel drivel, just like the Week in Geek radio show. Follow us at twigradio.com and the Instagram is the Week in Geek.
So, Dave, why don't we cut to a break and we'll bring Skungy back for his review.
Holy crap. Yeah, we haven't even taken a break yet. All right, Skungy, sit tight, buddy. Take us the break, Brian.
Guys, when we get back, we'll talk to Skungy and his pick of the week. I believe he's going to be talking a little about Madden.
Are you ready for some football?
No.
Yes.
Guys, stay tuned. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid by Nancy Hansen, is now an audiobook read for you by Brian Held. It's a tale of a young girl from Tortuga who disguises herself as a boy and bluffs her way onto a pirate ship, chasing after her one true love, only to find adventure on the high seas. Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid is available on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. Get your copy of Jezebel Johnston today.
Black Tie Tans, the premier mobile spray tanning professionals of New Orleans. Black Tie Tans will come to you and give you a natural glistening glow on the go. First-time customers get 20% off their first tan. Find them on Facebook at Black Tie Tans or email them at blacktitans@gmail.com to set your appointment. Going to a wedding? Going out to the club? Black Tie Tans will give you the look you need. Black Tie Tans. Tell your pale friends.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as My Enemy's Tears, Goth Librarian, Cyberpunk, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
In a New Orleans that never was and never will be, airships float high above the city while platoons of clockwork automatons patrol the streets below. In Storyville, pirates, streetwalkers, gamblers, and thieves prowl back alleys in search of their next mark. New Orleans by Gaslight, the premier anthology of locally written and locally produced steampunk poetry and fiction, all set in Victorian New Orleans. Buy it now, available in both paperback and Kindle versions at Amazon.com. New Orleans by Gaslight.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. Louisiana is more than just a place to visit. It's our way of life, and that means being outdoors. Join the nearly 2 million people who camped, biked, paddled, and hiked our state parks last year as we invite you to do the same. Every corner of Louisiana has something to offer. From the world-class fishing at Toledo Bend to paddling at Fontainebleau to exploring the ancient mounds at Poverty Point World Heritage Site. So fill up your car and staycation right here in our home, Louisiana.
You're listening to The Week in Geek.
It rubs the lotion on its skin. It does this whenever it's told.
Make it a habit, will ya?
It rubs the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again.
She sounds hideous.
Well, she's a guy, so...
Here's David and Brian.
Welcome back. This is The Week in Geek, where it rubs the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again, Brian.
I think that is the most disturbing rejoinder that you ever put together.
Well, she's a guy, so...
Oh, God.
All right, speaking of she's a guy, she's so lovely.
I am not what you would call a handsome man.
Skungy's Pick of the Week is brought to you by GameStop and ThinkGeek.com.
Skungy's Pick of the Week.
He might be an idiot savant.
Woohoo! Skungy, what's shaking bacon?
Sports ball!
Sports ball! I am ready for some football. Brian is not.
The Saints game's on right now, and the Saints scored a touchdown earlier, one play, like a 50-yard run. It was beautiful.
Sweet. Really? Was it Adrian Peterson or Ingram?
No, it was the new Alvin Kamara.
Oh, yeah, Kamara. Yes. Sweet. Yeah. All right, listen to our sister station, Sports 1280.
There you go.
Where I'm on the air pretty much all day long.
There you go. So, Skungy, what are our picks this week?
Well, we're going to talk about Madden Football 2018. Now, normally... I don't do a review for Madden because
there's not much
let's
to review.
be honest. Let's be honest. Sports games are pretty much the same thing year in, year out. Which you get maybe a new game mode here or there, or main thing is roster updates. Who's going to be the new players.
Yeah,
like hey, you play Madden this year. Adrian Peterson's on the Saints this year, so that's cool.
Shocking.
Yeah, shocker. But they've added something to Madden this year that's got me really excited for the first time in a long time with a Madden game.
Okay.
They added a mode called Long Shot.
All right.
Now, it's very similar to what FIFA did last year. FIFA added a thing called The Journey, and they're doing it now with Madden, where they're adding a story mode to Madden.
Interesting.
I like it.
So instead of traditionally you've just had hey, I'm just gonna play this team and this Saints versus Falcons or whatever, or I'm gonna start a franchise and play through many different seasons.
Right.
Well, this you're playing one player. Now it's a guy who was a really hot shot coming out of high school.
Okay.
But something happened and he couldn't go into the draft. Well, now 3 years later, it's his last chance to enter the draft, and he decides to enter the draft and get brought on with the team. And it's going to be the story of him going through life, going through, the league and how he's going to deal with everyday problems. Now, it's not going to be like one of those, like Any Given Sunday type story, that movie where it was all about glitz and glamour. No, it's about family. It's about, his responsibilities with life. So it's a real moving story. The guys who wrote the story, they say they got their inspiration from games like Uncharted and Last of Us and stuff like that.
Really?
So
yeah.
Does it end in a cocaine-fueled nightmare for this guy? And
Jesus, Brian, tell us how you really feel about sports.
Wow. Wow, man. I mean, good Lord. You really don't know anything about it. That doesn't happen until the sophomore year of sports. Get it right, sir.
Right.
So I mean, all right. So it's his storyline, right? And it goes into his life and stuff. How far does it play through?
It plays through a couple of seasons and whatnot.
Until he gets a career-ending ACL injury or something like that.
Okay.
No, nothing. I don't think it's going to be. They haven't given all the details, and you won't know fully until the game comes out.
Yeah, I saw they released a little bit of a teaser trailer for the game mode, and it's kind of showing his hometown where it's go Beavers, whatever the hell his sports.
Yeah,
the local
Friday
sports
Night
collective
Lights
is called.
stuff.
Yeah.
So, that looks kind of cool. Now, when you were telling me about this new story mode, about this young kid coming into the league, I immediately thought of the greatest football game ever, Blitz the League, which is a cocaine-fueled nightmare thrill ride of broken bones and hemorrhoids. It's awesome.
That is, and that was what that's going to be my throwback pick of this week is the Blitz the League series.
Cool. So, what's that about? How do you...
Oh, okay. Blitz the League. Well, Blitz is a series that came out in the arcades years ago in the 90s, and it was more of the arcade-style football. Madden was always simulating football. This was just throw the ball as far as you can. He's on fire, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it also had, super hits where you went for late hits and you got bonus points for breaking the rules and, trying to break bones. Oh, good times,
exactly.
Good times.
And that's what happened with Blitz the League. Now, when the league came out, they decided to take the dark underbelly of football. Basically, there was a television show that came out on ESPN years ago called Playmakers.
Oh, my God, I remember that.
And it was that was this game. So it was showed all the dirty, gritty stuff. I mean, they were sending strippers to their hotel rooms.
Oh yeah, that was even something in the game. Yeah, you could pay extra money and send a stripper or a whore over to the other team's star player, and it would lower his vitality, and so he'd be easier to hit, he'd be easier to hurt, and he couldn't play as well.
Wow,
and it was a great cutscene.
Yeah, and then when you if you
stop,
you built up this blitz mode, and you can use it to tackle somebody, and when you tackle them, it went into an X-ray, and you saw the bone shatter and the spleen bursting and everything.
CSI, oh yeah, it's
yeah, and then when they're like, oh, my God, they're going to be out, you have a choice. You can sit there and juice your player on the side of the field. Now, they get back in the game quicker, but you have the chance of them being, like, out of the game for good. Like, you could lose them for games.
Right. Wow.
Brian, I think you would probably enjoy this because it's every bad thing you ever think of football all rolled into one game. You could be like, see, I knew football was this bad.
If I was going to play anything like that, it would be Blood Bowl, right?
This is like Blood Bowl in real life, though, and you wouldn't understand this, Brian, unfortunately. But Dave, the game had Bill Romanowski and Lawrence Taylor were actually in the game. Two of the dirtiest players.
Lawrence Taylor, man, they don't make them like him anymore.
Well, price and platforms on Madden, Skungy.
Okay, well, Madden's going to come out on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Now, there are two different versions of it. There's going to be the GOAT edition, which stands for Greatest of All Times. That one is going to come out on Tuesday, and that's $79.99. So you get it 3 days early, and you get a whole bunch of bonus stuff because you can create your own teams as well. It's called Ultimate Team with your own players and everything, so you get a bunch of bonuses with that. That's $79.99. That comes out on the 22nd. That's Tuesday. The regular edition of the game comes out on Friday, and that's going to be $59.99 on both the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, and also PC.
All right, cool.
Nice. And the Blitz is still around, floating around somewhere.
Blitz, you can find it. You can, I think the original one, I think it's backwards compatible. If not, it's available on the PlayStation. It's on the PlayStation 2 and the X. Now, Blitz the League is on Xbox 360.
Yeah.
So,
if any of the listeners want to borrow it, just give me a call, 260-12... 260-0995.
Yeah,
I'm on too many stations.
Skungy, the Blitz one, was that ever a PC version?
Yeah, they had one on PC.
All right, there you go, Brian.
The game's old though. I mean, it came out like originally like 2008, I think is when the first one came out.
Well, there's that site Good Old Games. And you can get old games like that, so it might be available on that.
Well done, Brian.
Yeah, you see?
Helping out those sports ballers.
What can I say? All right. Skungy, we do have our next guest on the line, so we got to cut you loose.
So guess
what?
All
right, just want to let everybody know something really quick, though.
Oh, that's right.
The Xbox One X's at Gamescom right now, they just announced they are available for pre-order through different outlets like Amazon, Best Buy, Walmart.com.
Don't go to Walmart.
They're available there.
Cool.
Don't do the Walmart. They're gonna mess you over like they did with Nintendo.
All right.
Yeah. But it's available right now for reserve.
That's good.
All right, Skungy. Guess what?
I am fired.
Yeah, and go watch the Saints game.
I am.
All right,
Thank
buddy.
you, Skungy.
Keep me updated. Text me during the game. All right, guys, stay tuned. You are listening to The Week in Geek. Brian, what's coming up next?
We got our interview with Candice Huber from W&Q's Mid-City Bookshop, and she's going to tell us all about her new publishing imprint. Stay tuned, guys. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
This song makes me want to hit people, Brian. Come in here. Let's fight. All right. We'll be right back.
Hey folks, it's Michael Berry, and I want to meet you. I'm going to be in New Orleans, Monkey Board, the rooftop bar at the Troubadour Hotel, Wednesday, August 23rd. I hope you'll pop in. I'd like to meet you, have a drink with you.
Starting at 5 with News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com/shop and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com/shop.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as My Enemy's Tears, Goth Librarian, Cyberpunk, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at W&Q's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
Black Tie Tans, the premier mobile spray tanning professionals of New Orleans. Black Tie Tans will come to you and give you a natural glistening glow on the go. First-time customers get 20% off their first tan. Find them on Facebook at Black Tie Tans or email them at blacktitans@gmail.com to set your appointment. Going to a wedding? Going out to the club? Black Tie Tans will give you the look you need. Black tie tans. Tell your pale friends.
Welcome to America Speaks by Zip, the polling app that lets you tell the nation what you think. Download the Zip app today. It's Sunday, August 20th. Coffee and a nap? Some studies say coffee before a nap could give people a jolt of productivity. Are you in on this? The guys are split, 50% saying yes, pour me a cup, the other half saying that won't work for me. Women were more skeptical, with 54% saying no, thank you. A Munsters reboot is in the works for NBC. Will this work for today's audience? 76% of all respondents to the Zip app said stop with the reboots. And Derek Jeter has won the auction for the Miami Marlins and will serve as the franchise's CEO. Do you think he can turn the franchise around and make it a winning team? Not everyone is on board. 60% of men and 53% of women said that move alone won't do it. They need to invest in players. Answer all of life's opinion-based questions with just one swipe. Download Zip, the polling app that lets you tell the nation what you think. In the App Store, it's free and 100% anonymous.
Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid by Nancy Hansen, is now an audiobook read for you by Brian Held. It's a tale of a young girl from Tortuga who disguises herself as a boy and bluffs her way onto a pirate ship, chasing after her one true love, only to find adventure on the high seas. Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid is available on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. Get your copy of Jezebel Johnston today. When you're in need of pain relief, come to Need It Relief Massage Therapy. Kat is an experienced licensed massage therapist. Check out her website and book your session online now at massagetherapykm.com. Need It Relief Massage Therapy for some much needed relief.
Together, we can turn a stairwell into an ER at a moment's notice. Together, we can turn a rescue ship for refugees into a maternity ward. Together, we can vaccinate 710,000 people in just 11 days. Together, we are Doctors Without Borders. Doctors Without Borders goes where others don't to provide life-saving medical care. Learn more at doctorswithoutborders.org.
This is Captain Rex, troopers, and you're listening to The Week in Geek. Now move out.
Welcome back, New Orleans. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. This is Brian Held with
D Squared.
Hey, man.
Hey, man.
So, guys, we have, as guest of the show tonight, Miss Candice Huber, proprietor of Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop, and Artie Sievers, one of the authors that's part of her new imprint. Candice, you there?
I am here. How are you?
Fantastic. Artie, you there?
I sure am. Yeah.
I made it work. Hooray for
That's
me.
awesome. Yeah, so we're happy to bring everybody a twofer. So, Candice, start us out here. What is going on? I mean, you have run a great bookshop for a number of years here in New Orleans, but now you're going to be making books now?
That is correct. So we are voyaging out into publishing books now. So the bookstore is actually coming up on its 3-year anniversary. So we're making 3 years on September 1st, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely.
And yes. And so I decided that I've always said that one of my purposes is to tell stories. And I think that, helping other people tell stories is really important. So voyaging into publishing was just the next step in helping other people tell their stories. So starting a publishing imprint to help independent authors who may not have any agents or, they don't necessarily have the ability or money or, they can't self-publish or don't want to deal with everything that comes with self-publishing, but they still want to tell a story. So I'm trying to help independent authors it's sort of what I call hybrid publishing. So it's a combination of what you get when you publish with a regular, big box publisher and what you would get from self-publishing.
Well, and that's fantastic. I mean, what a wonderful way to expand the community that you've already built here, right? To give that extra voice to folks. Now, Artie, tell me, you are author of Captain. Is the book that's going to be put out under this imprint. Tell me about what this is.
Sure. So Captain is, the untold story of Captain James Hook. we all know this villain from Peter Pan lore, but this is really delving into, well, how did he get that way? Well, where did he come from? And so we start off with good old James Lamport, rather innocuous name there, as he kind of sets off as an 18-year-old and follows him through his, dark spiral down into James Hook of the Jolly Roger.
Interesting. Now, I know that, and first off, let me say thank you for your service. I knew you were an Army medic.
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Did any of that military service play into putting this together, giving you the idea?
Not necessarily in giving me the idea, but I tell you what, there's a lot of the gore and the kind of and the action sequences that definitely came to mind and brought to mind just some of my trainings there.
So this is not a children's book, is that what you're telling me?
Well, I mean, it's a young adult book, so
okay.
It's kind of it lives in that best of both worlds place where we're following a young adult here who's experiencing things for the first time, who's really becoming an adult in his own right, and is seeing things that he may have never seen as a child. So he's dealing with pirates, he's dealing with violence. There's even a birth sequence that he ends up just being privy to. So there are some adult things that even he is seeing for the first time here. Yeah,
I like that. I like it.
I completely thought that Peter Pan was just a tale of fiction, but I mean, this is giving us the historical elements of that.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I really, I'd like to say that I get a little overwhelmed, or not overwhelmed. I dig in really deep with research, and I really did a lot of research of Edwardian England, and the maritime activity therein, and what would have happened, like what were the ships like, what were these crews like, what would his life have been like. So I would like to say that, yeah, there is a lot of history that is in this book, yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, Candice, Artie is one of 3 authors that you have that are initially going to come out with this imprint. Can you tell us a little bit about the other 2?
Sure. So the other 2 books, one book is a children's book, and it is a New Orleans alphabet. So it is called Alligator Bayou Crawfish, ABC. So it's everything. It's everything from alligators all the way to voodoo and everything in between.
We got a Rougarou?
Tell me, S is.
I don't think the R is Rougarou.
S is for streetcar, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay. All right.
So it's just everything in New Orleans, taking pieces of New Orleans culture and making an alphabet out of it. And the author of that is Ali Salino, and she actually did the logo for the bookstore, so the dragon logo.
Oh, cool.
So she did a lot of different illustrations for every different letter of the alphabet. And, then there's, of course, little, rhyming words. It's really great. And I actually convinced Ali to let me publish this book because she was like, hey, I have this book and I don't know what to do with it. And I was like, this is amazing. You should let me publish it. And that's part of how this started coming about, because I saw that and I was like, I really want to do something with this and I think I can help you. So that's pretty cool. And then the other book is called The 2 Stegosauruses. And this is written by Daniel Glazer, and he is a cartoonist. So it is in the shape of a children's book. It's going to look like a children's book, but it's for adults. So it's about 2 stegosauruses, a boy stegosaurus and a girl stegosaurus, and they meet in prehistoric times. And one of them's clumsy and one of them's awkward, and all the other dinosaurs don't like them. And they come together through being kind of outcast by the other dinosaurs. So it's a nerd love story told by, in the form of stegosauruses. So I think a lot of nerds will like it. I think it'll be really good for Christmas gifts or Valentine's Day gifts or things like that. So
isn't
kids,
that the guy?
I think kids will also like it, but it's more for adults, I think, than kids.
Isn't that the guy who comes into the shop all the time? He hangs out at the coffee shop too. Is that the comedian guy?
He's not a comedian.
No,
he does come into the shop all the time,
Okay.
and to the coffee shop. He's a cartoonist.
Cartoonist. Oh, it started
Yeah.
with a C.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, but he's come to board game night at the store a lot
That's
as
it.
well. So there are folks, if you hang out at Tubby and Coos, you probably have seen him around.
Cool. So I guess the biggest question is, how can folks support your efforts to make this imprint a reality?
Sure. So we have on our website, which we just revamped, and it looks pretty fancy now. It is tubbyandcoos.com/publishing. And if you go there, you can get all the information on all of the books and all the different packages we're offering. You can just buy one of the books. You can buy the collection, which is all of the books. There's a bunch of stuff in between. There's the highest level there that we have is a slumber party at the bookstore. So you get all the books, you get everything. You get to spend the night in the bookstore. So there's a bunch of different levels on there, but it's at tubbyandcoos.com/publishing, and that's where all the information is, and that's where you can go to support us.
That's fantastic.
Now, speaking of board game night, aren't you up at freaking Gen Con right now?
I am at freaking Gen Con. It is so awesome.
So now you
love
always
Gen Con.
come back with a bevy of gifts and great games to give to the peoples of New Orleans on your board game night. It's at
True.
Sunday nights?
Yes, it is Sunday nights. I have acquired here 27 games. I just counted today.
Nice.
So I will be bringing back 27 games for the lovely people of New Orleans. So anyone who wants to come to the bookstore, actually August 26th, we're having an event. And that's where we're going to be demoing and playing all the games that I got here at Gen Con. So if folks want to come and see what we've brought back, you can hop over to the store. It's going to be basically all day. I think I did it from noon to 6 on the 26th.
Okay.
So basically all day that Saturday, we're going to be playing all these games from Gen Con and debuting the new game room at the store, which I just revamped. And so now instead of a reading room, we have a room full of games that people can come anytime and pay $5 and play all the games in there. There's I'm getting close to 300 right now.
Jeez
Yeah.
Louise.
All right, so before we cut you loose, your number one favorite new game from Gen Con that you played, tell us.
Oh, this is so hard. Okay.
Yeah, put her on the spot, why don't you?
Yeah, of course.
I know. My favorite game that I've played here is probably a game called Meeple Circus. It's not out yet. I think it comes out in October, and it is a meeple stacking game, but the meeples are things like elephants and camels and, different things, and you have to stack your meeples into weird configurations based on the cards, and it was just and it's timed, so you have to do it and not knock all your things over, and it was just fun. We had a blast playing it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So, all right, one last thing. So, Artie, where can we find you on the net? Where can folks keep up with you and your work?
Of course, yeah. So I'm there at artiesievers.com, pretty basic, and then my Twitter handle is at artiesievers.
Now, hold on. You have a very interesting Instagram account, don't you?
Oh, my gosh, yes. Oh, I totally forgot. Yes. So I also run the Instagram account Cats at the Met. So I have, just a membership to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and I am a cat dad and love cats. So what I do in my spare time is I go to the Met, and I literally go through the Met room by room, gallery by gallery, looking at every single piece of art. And I take pictures of all the cats that I find. And so every Instagram post on Cats at the Met is literally a picture of a cat, and it tells you what the piece is and what gallery you can find it in.
That is epic. I love that. Awesome. And I love the Met. It's a fantastic museum. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, thank you both so much for taking the time. We have to cut to commercial break.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Guys, stay tuned. When we get back, we will close the show as we always do with This Week in Geek History. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid by Nancy Hansen, is now an audiobook read for you by Brian Held. It's a tale of a young girl from Tortuga who disguises herself as a boy and bluffs her way onto a pirate ship, chasing after her one true love, only to find adventure on the high seas. Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid is available on Amazon. Audible, and iTunes. Get your copy of Jezebel Johnston today.
Black Tie Tans, the premier mobile spray tanning professionals of New Orleans. Black Tie Tans will come to you and give you a natural glistening glow on the go. First-time customers get 20% off their first tan. Find them on Facebook at Black Tie Tans or email them at blacktieTans@gmail.com to set your appointment. Going to a wedding? Going out to the club? Black Tie Tans will give you the look you need. Black Tie Tans. Tell your pale friends.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Paid for by Open Jar. Attention! If you received a metal-on-metal hip implant and you've experienced complications or need a revision surgery, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation. Injuries from metal-on-metal hip implants can include metallosis, loosening of parts, pain, difficulty in walking, and other problems. Manufacturers have set aside billions of dollars to settle these legal claims. You are not alone. Thousands of hip implant patients have received recalls for their hip replacement device and are suffering painful side effects. If you received a metal-on-metal hip implant and have suffered injuries or underwent a revision surgery to correct the issue, call the Hip Implant Helpline now at 800-846-1313. Experience matters. Our network of attorneys are ready to fight for you. The consultation is free, and you'll pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-846-1313. 800-846-1313. 800-846-1313.
In a New Orleans that never was and never will be, airships float high above the city while platoons of clockwork automatons patrol the streets below. In Storyville, pirates, streetwalkers, gamblers, and thieves prowl back alleys in search of their next mark. New Orleans by Gaslight, the premier anthology of locally written and locally produced steampunk poetry and fiction, all set in Victorian New Orleans. Buy it now, available in both paperback and Kindle versions at Amazon.com. New Orleans by Gaslight.
Gregory Ricks here. I enjoy fast cars, so I go to NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale. They have a fun go-kart track, racing school, a 2.7-mile race course. And yeah, there's crazy guys on motorcycles. Hang off a bike, scrape some knees in the turns. I can't recommend it enough. NOLA Motorsports Park. Adrenaline fun. See what they're all about at NOLAmotor.com.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as My Enemy's Tears, Goth Librarian, Cyberpunk, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
Men, you know how women are always suggesting something looks really good on you, and you think it's because they want to change you? It's the exact opposite. Frigo by RevolutionWear.com is underwear reimagined, the ideal solution for all that squirming and adjusting you're experiencing. Frigo by RevolutionWear.com releases you from pinching, pulling, and restricting. And trust me, they love the way it looks on you. Frigo by RevolutionWear.com. The revolution starts below.
My name is Optimus Prime, and you are listening to
Starscream here, and you are listening to The Week in Geek. Call me Lord.
Welcome back, New Orleans. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. This is Brian with
G-Squared.
I love that rejoinder.
I know you do, pal. I played it just for you.
So another first that we've done recently when we were in Pensacola for the Comic-Con.
What?
Is we did a couple of video interviews.
We did, and I didn't look at the camera at all. Maybe thrice.
Nah, well, it's all good, but I will be working on getting that up to our Facebook page. Dave, how can folks find that page and other social media?
Funny you should ask. We strongly urge you to check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Week in Geek. Check out our website at twigradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at Twig Radio and the Instagrams, The Week in Geek. Now, Brian, how can people listen to this lovely show?
Well, if you missed any part of tonight's show or you want to hear your favorite part again, you can always catch us on Spreaker.com or download Spreaker for your smartphone or tablet. We're also on iTunes, YouTube, the iHeartRadio app, and at WRNO.com.
Absolutely. So can we talk about who we interviewed?
Yeah, we did Anne-Marie Crouch.
Right.
Yeah, who is Princess Shayla from Power Rangers.
Wild Force.
Yes, and also
Eddie Deason.
Yes.
Dude, so if that name doesn't ring a bell, think of every nerd from like the 80s movies. He was in War Games, but he was in Midnight Grease, yeah. Midnight Madness, like oh my God, so many things. I mean, he just has a face that is unforgettable, and he was really cool and pleasant, and he does a whole bunch of voice work because he has a very distinct voice. And now we're rambling. We need to do This Week in Geek History.
We do.
Let's do it.
This Week in Geek History.
We're sending you back to the future.
Yes! Oh my God!
This Week in Geek History is brought to you by Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid by Nancy Hansen, read by Brian Held. Available on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. This Week in Geek History.
Yes! Oh my gosh!
Da-na-na, da-na-na. Wow.
All right, Dave, out of the gate, I got one for you to guess. If you don't get this one, you have to turn in your geek card.
Okay, I'll get it ready now.
All right, August 14th, 1975.
I'd just been born.
Mm-hmm. This movie was directed by Jim Sharman, and it's starring Tim Curry, Susan Sarandon, Barry Bostwick, and Richard O'Brien.
Oh, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
There you
okay,
go.
All right. Well, at first, when you said Tim
director.
Curry, well, no, not the director. I didn't know the hell he is, but the Tim Curry. I started thinking something like like Labyrinth, not Labyrinth. What was it? Not Labyrinth. Legend.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm like, don't be that guy, Brian.
All right.
What's next?
Next is August 15th, 1877. This one's a little odd. Thomas Edison coins the word hello as a greeting and as an alternative to the one suggested by inventor Alexander Bell, which was ahoy, ahoy.
Okay, I'm glad we went with hello. Oh, my God. That's horrible.
Alrighty then.
Let's go with that.
Alrighty then.
Oh, geez.
What's next?
All right, August 6th.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Right, I know.
Thanks.
All right, let's see. Let's do this one. August 18th, 1968. Is the very first official Gen Con in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, where Candice is at.
I know. I'm so damn jealous, man.
I know.
I've been wanting to go to that convention ever since it was always in the back of all the Dragon and Dungeon magazines back in the 80s and 90s, man. Someday I'll pilgrimage up there.
Yeah. One day. One day we're going to get there.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Yes. All right, last one on my list, August 20th, 1982. Starring Mark Singer, Tanya Roberts.
Beastmaster.
There you go.
God damn,
yes.
I'm awesome.
I wasn't even going to make you guess it.
I know. Mark Singer, that's all he's done, though. You just say Mark Singer.
Right.
Two ferrets.
The film was marketed with the tagline, "Born with the courage of an eagle, the strength of a black tiger, and the power of a god." That was that. That's what they did. All right.
Well, hey.
Ready for birthdays?
I am.
All right. On the 14th, it's Halle Berry.
well played.
Yes. So, one of my wife's favorite actresses for her roles in like Catwoman and as Storm in the X-Men.
You were trolling your wife right now. Oh my God, that is awesome,
Yes.
Brian.
All right, on the 15th, Batfleck.
The Batfleck.
Yes.
All right. Good for him.
On the 16th, Steve Carell.
Yeah,
he's a great guy. On the 17th, Donnie Wahlberg. Yes. On the 18th, Andy Samberg. Do you know him from The Lonely Island, SNL?
Yeah, that's right.
And on the 19th, Jonathan Frakes.
Nice. Oh, the captain, not captain.
No.
First commander.
Commander Riker.
There we go. Thank you.
Which hopefully
we're going to be
interviewing
seeing him at Dragon Con.
Yes.
Right.
And speaking of Dragon Con, Dave, our guest next week is going to be none other than Dan Carroll. He's the media director.
You're like the damn Segway king, Brian.
What can I say?
Amazing.
But he's the media director for Dragon Con. He's going to be telling us all about the event. Yes, guys, we have press passes. We're going to be at Dragon Con. Dave is super excited about it.
I am.
And we're going to have a blast, and we can't wait to report about the event from the event
Right,
for you.
and it's in Atlanta, so I'm probably going to firebomb the Falcons Superdome, whatever the hell they call it.
No, you're not. All right,
guys. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Till next time, keep your nerd flag raised high.
GFL. Your new home for Walton and Johnson. News Talk 99.5 WRNO FM, New Orleans, an iHeart radio station.